Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Earthfile. I'm Chimezie Obi Iwago. Nigeria is the largest producer of cassava in the world. The Food and Agriculture Organization puts the country's production to about 54.8 million tons in 2014. But weed control is one of the major challenges facing improved yields for cassava production in the country. That is why weed control experts in Nigeria have been able to develop a new technology which will help farmers in Nigeria and other African countries deal with weeds on their farmlands. This is our focus on Earthfile this week. Do stay with us.
Cassava is a staple food widely grown in Nigeria and other tropical and subtropical areas of the world. Africa produces over 54% of the world's cassava, with Nigeria taking the lead globally with a production of about 54.8 million tons in 2014, according to the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO. Cassava is said to be rich in carbohydrates, calcium, vitamins, and other essential minerals. The nutrient composition in the tuber differs according to variety and age of the harvested crop, soil conditions, climate, and other environmental factors during cultivation. Cassava is grown in all agroecological zones of Nigeria, but thrives in the rainforest and derived savanna areas. Production is highest in the north-central and south-south regions. The country's average yield is 7.7 million tons per hectare, which is regarded as very low compared to 23.4 million tons and 22.2 million tons average yield per hectare produced in Indonesia and Thailand, the other leading cassava-producing countries in the world. Every part of cassava is useful. The leaves are used as vegetable for humans or fodder for animals. The roots yield in Africa and Nigeria in particular is being hindered by several factors, including poor weed control. Weeding takes 50 to 80% of total farm budget. In most communities, women and children hand weed cassava farmland, an activity which is complex and results in backaches. Yield losses of cassava under weed infestation is estimated at between 50 and 90%. Poor weed control and other agronomic constraints impede cassava production and put yield of cassava in Nigeria at about 8 tons per hectare. Weed infestation on cassava farmland. Amount 50 to 90%. Cassava yield 8 tons per hectare. For the first time in the history of Africa, weed experts from Nigeria, led by Professor Friday Ekeleme, Principal Investigator, Sustainable Weed Management Technologies for Cassava System in Nigeria, and other members of the research team, have developed a new weed control technology for farmers in Nigeria and African countries at large.
Generally, the project is implemented by the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture Ibadan in collaboration with national partners like the Federal University of Agriculture Makurdi, Federal University of Agriculture Abeokuta, the National Root Crops Research Institute, Umudike, and then the national ADPs, that is Agricultural Development Programs, as well as other private partners.
We visited a demonstration site in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. I started by asking him what weed is all about and the immediate impacts on farm yield.
Weed management is an act where you try to control your weeds so that they don't affect your crops negatively in the sense that they don't reduce your crop yield. It's not only in cassava, it's not only in maize, anything called crop. Even when you're developing your oil palm plantation, you need to control weeds in that. There are various ways you can control weeds. Naturally, as Africans, we use hoe to weed, but that has a lot of implication, negative implication. Because you bend, you have to develop this back pen. It's expensive and it's time-consuming. You can have chemical weed control where you use herbicides. You can also have mechanical weed control where you use machines to weed.
On this farmland, weed flower grows very well on this type of soil. This is how farmland looks 4 weeks after planting. After about 1 month, it's time for first weeding. At 3rd month, second weeding is carried out. At 6th month, third weeding is carried out.
Here we are is the stage that is called farmer managed experiment. Now, what is the issue? The issue here is that in Nigeria and Africa largely, weed management has been a challenge in crop farming, particularly in cassava. So scientists are looking for solution on how to remove the drudgery of hand weeding, hoeing, because it's largely responsible why our youths are not interested in agriculture. Once these drudgery are removed and the high-level mechanization introduced in farming, it will be repackaged. So it's a agenda to repackage agriculture, not just to be accepted by the youths, but also to be viable. Okay, that is the situation. Now, the stage the research is on at a farmers managed level.